What is up, ladies and gentlemen? We have some huge things happen on this week's Big Four, where we saw a in-ring return from Triple H. We saw the wrap up of New Year's Smash from AEW. We saw a new challenger be revealed for the NXT Championship on NXT, and we had a huge change to the Universal Championship match for Royal Rumble. With all that in store, I'm Kevin Jones, the Disciples of Wrestling, and let's get started. In my number 10, I have Roman Reigns. Roman's always heavily involved, and he's always stating his claim on SmackDown as the tribal chief. Well, this week, he wasn't the one that got the last laugh, as Adam Pearce was the one to appear to trick him into getting a championship match with Kevin Owens for Royal Rumble. So, of course, always a big week for Roman Reigns, but due to the fact that he was the one that got okie doked, he was the one that ended up dropping to number 10 on my power rankings this week. At number 9, Shinsuke Nakamura. After a huge stake in his claim in the gauntlet match for the number one contendership for the Universal Championship the week before, Shinsuke keeps the cap rolling as he declares himself as we see that he's declaring himself as a babyface now, and he gets a big win over Jey Uso. He would be a lot higher if it would have been a nice clean win, but instead this was a roll up into the Kinshasa. Not really much as a dominant display because it looked like Jey was distracted, but still, nonetheless, he's still in this week's power ranking, just at number 9. At number 8, Cesaro. Cesaro had a banger of a match against Daniel Bryan that made my DW top 5, but this was really a shocker. He ended up getting a win over Daniel Bryan. Huge win for Cesaro to keep the ball rolling and really to get some momentum, so he's my number 8. At number 7, I have Randy Orton. Randy Orton had a huge night on Raw. As usual, he's been heavily involved since last year in 2020, and he's just keeping the ball rolling, really to keep developing the storyline against The Fiend. And he ended up tricking Triple H into coming out of retirement to have himself a match. They had great promos going in. Randy Orton just keeps having the momentum. Unfortunately, he ended up getting his eyes disturbingly burnt from Alexa Bliss, but nonetheless, Randy Orton's still heavily involved, and it's still hard to knock his ability to be a top promo and a top wrestler. At number 6, I have MSK. They had a heck of a debut in the Dusty Cup, formerly known as the Rascals from Impact Wrestling and all around the Indies, and they just showed up. They had a phenomenal match against Jake Atlas and Isaiah Swerve Scott, where we saw a lot of high-risk moves, a lot of creative offense, and they got themselves staking claim in the Dusty Cup, getting a win, and they're already looking at as favorites for the finals. At number 5, I have Undisputed Era's Adam Cole and Roderick Strong. These two had a great match to start off the Dusty Cup as they staked their claim, beating Breezango in a great match that also made my DW top 5. But not only that, they were also heavily involved, giving their buddy Kyle O'Reilly and Finn Balor back up as they had to deal with Danny Burch and Oney Lorcan and Pete Dunne throughout the night. So Undisputed Era, they're looking to stake their claim as well, already looking at as favorites to win the whole thing as well, due to their experience and due to the fact that they've done it before. So Undisputed Era is my number 5. At number 4, we have the Ways, Candice LeRae and Johnny Gargano. These two both had dubs on this past Wednesday's NXT. Now, of course, it wasn't without the interference of Austin Theory and Indy Hartwell, but nonetheless, it still dubs with momentum for both of these two sides for both of their entrance into the Dusty Cup for their respective sides. Number 3, I have Pete Dunne. Pete Dunne really staked his claim as the next challenger for the NXT Championship, and he also took out the last challenger for the NXT Championship as he was disturbed that he looked like he was going to be in the way. Pete Dunne is really making waves in NXT. He's tired of lingering in the background. He's ready to get himself some gold, and he's doing so in a quite dominant fashion, and I'm liking Pete Dunne at number 3. At number 2, I have Keith Lee. Keith Lee, outside of Randy Orton, had an insanely involved match as he had 2 matches back-to-back with 2 wins. He had a tag team match with him and Sheamus versus John Morrison and The Miz, where he picks up the win with Sheamus. And then we had a one-on-one match between him and Sheamus where he got another win as he beat Sheamus, and then those two buried the hatches. But not only that, Keith Lee was willing to be in a third match against Randy Orton to step up for Triple H. But of course, Triple H ended up telling him to step back, and he had to deal with this one. But other than that, huge week where Keith Lee was heavily involved in the ring. Now, my number one, Darby Allin, has had a beast of a run, and he's just looking to stake his claim as the TNT Championship, letting everyone in AEW know this belt ain't going nowhere. He had one heck of a match against Brian Cage, where he was dominated for the most part. Literally 90% of this match, Brian Cage had control. But Darby Allin pulled it off, and he got the win, and that is my number one. All right, guys, that was my power rankings for this past week. There was a lot that went on this past week on wrestling. So if there were some wrestlers that you felt like should got more shine, definitely put it in the comment section. But until next time, if y'all like the content, definitely hit that thumbs up. If you guys definitely want to get us out there more, go ahead and hit that share button. And of course, if you like daily content from us, definitely hit the subscribe button down there. But until next time, I'm Kevin Jones, the Disciples of Wrestling, and that was wrestling.